Confirmation bias.
Did you see this? You were right.
I knew it. I told you the moon landing is fake.
Here's another article. Same thing.
See? Everyone agrees with me.
That's confirmation bias, and it just happened in 4 seconds. Your brain doesn't look for the truth, it looks for evidence that you're already right. Every search you make, every article you click, every person you agree with, your brain is quietly filtering out anything that challenges what you already believe and collecting everything that confirms it. The scary part is, it feels like research. It feels like you're being informed, but you're not gathering information. You're building a case for a verdict you already reached. The algorithm knows this better than you do. It doesn't show you what's true, it shows you what you'll click. And what you'll click is whatever makes you feel like you were right all along. ChatGPT is a prime example of that. It's programmed to agree with you and be supportive of your ideas. For example, if you tell it, "Give me 4 reasons why the Earth is flat," it will actually do it. The Dunning-Kruger effect.
I've been playing for 2 weeks. I think I'm actually pretty good.
You should perform at my event.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm ready.
2 weeks in and ready to perform. That's the Dunning-Kruger effect in real time. Here's what actually happens. When you first learn something, you don't know enough to know what you don't know. So you feel competent, confident even. The less you know, the more your brain fills the gaps with assumptions. And those assumptions feel like knowledge. Then something happens. You learn more. And suddenly you realize how much you missed. Confidence drops. This is the valley where most people quit. Not because they got worse, but because they finally understood how much further there is to go. The people who make it through that valley become genuinely good, and interestingly, they tend to be less confident than the people who quit 2 weeks in. Because real expertise comes with a clear view of everything you still don't understand. And the gap between those two people is not skill, it's awareness. The sunk cost fallacy.
You've already put 3 years into this. You can't quit now.
You're right, 3 years. I can't just walk away.
Exactly. Think about everything you've already invested.
What AC just did has nothing to do with logic and everything to do with loss. The sunk cost fallacy is the reason people stay in careers they hate, relationships that aren't working, and movies that lost them 20 minutes ago. The money is spent, the time is gone, the energy is not coming back. None of that changes based on what you do next, but your brain doesn't see it that way. Your brain sees walking away as losing everything you put in. So it tells you to keep going, not because continuing makes sense, but because stopping feels like admitting the past was a waste. Here's the truth. The past is already gone whether you continue or not. The only question worth asking is, if you started today with no history, no investment, no previous decision, would you choose this? If the answer is no, the sunk cost fallacy is the only thing keeping you there. Past investment is not a reason to continue. It's a reason your brain tricks you into continuing. The availability heuristic.
Plane crashes are terrifying. You should drive instead.
You're right, flying feels so dangerous lately.
Much safer to drive, obviously.
A C just made a 12-hour decision based on a feeling, not a fact. The availability heuristic is your brain's habit of judging how likely something is based on how easily an example comes to mind. Plane crashes make the news. They are dramatic, visual, and removable, so your brain files them under things that happen often. They don't. You are statistically far more likely to be harmed in the car driving to the airport than in the plane leaving it. But car accidents don't trend. They don't break news. They don't stay in your memory the same way. Your brain is not a calculator. It's a pattern recognizer. And the patterns it recognizes most easily are the ones that were most recently and dramatically presented to you. Which means whoever controls what you see controls what you fear. And whoever controls what you fear controls what you do. The most dangerous things in your life rarely make headlines. And the things that make headlines are rarely the most dangerous things in your life. The framing effect. Same product, same numbers, completely different decision. The framing effect is the reason the same fact can make you feel 2 completely opposite things depending on how it's presented. 90% survival rate feels reassuring, 10% mortality rate feels alarming. The math is identical, the emotional response is not. This is not a quirk, it is a strategy. Every political speech, every advertisement, every negotiation, every piece of news you read has been framed deliberately. Someone decided which number to lead with, which word to use, which angle to present, and that decision was not neutral. It was calculated. Your brain doesn't process raw data. It processes the emotional wrapper the data arrived in, which means you can be shown the exact same reality through 2 different frames and reach 2 completely different conclusions. both times feeling like you reasoned your way there. The frame is not the picture, but your brain treats it like it is. The planning fallacy. The planning fallacy is the universal human tendency to underestimate how long things will take, how much things will cost, and how many things will go wrong. And it affects everyone, not just disorganized people. Surgeons underestimate operation times. Engineers underestimate project timelines. Governments underestimate infrastructure costs by billions. The reason is simple. When you plan, you imagine the best-case scenario. You picture the version where nothing unexpected happens, everyone delivers on time, and you work at peak capacity every day. You are essentially planning for a world that has never existed and will never exist. What your plan does not include is the email that derails a morning, the problem that requires starting over, the dependency that doesn't arrive on time, or the day you simply cannot focus. These things are not exceptions. They are the rule. The fix is uncomfortable but simple. Whatever you estimate, double it. Not because you're bad at planning, because you're human. And humans have been optimistically wrong about timelines since we started building things. The bystander effect. The more people present, the less likely any one of them is to help. That is not a theory. It is a documented pattern called the bystander effect. In 1964, a woman named Kitty Genovese was attacked outside her apartment building in New York. Dozens of neighbors heard or witnessed parts of the attack. Almost none intervened or called for help. The story became the foundation for decades of research into why people fail to act when others are present. The mechanism is two things happening at once. First, diffusion of responsibility. When a group is present, each individual feels personally less responsible because they assume someone else will handle it. Second, social proof. Everyone looks at everyone else to see how to react, and if nobody is reacting, that becomes the signal that no reaction is needed. The result is a crowd of individually decent people collectively doing nothing. The antidote is equally simple. If you ever need help in a crowd, do not appeal to the group. Point at one specific person. Make eye contact. Say you specifically. The moment responsibility is assigned to an individual, the bystander effect breaks. The survivorship bias. The pattern is not clear. The pattern is incomplete. You're only seeing the ones who survived. Survivorship bias is what happens when you draw conclusions from the winners while ignoring the far larger group of people who tried the same thing and failed. Because the failures aren't visible. They didn't make the poster. For every dropout who built a billion-dollar company, there are tens of thousands of dropouts who struggled without the degree and without the $1 billion. You don't hear about them. They don't give commencement speeches. They don't make the headlines. So your brain, using the availability heuristic as a bonus bias, concludes that the pattern of the winners is the pattern of the strategy. It isn't. The strategy produced both the winners and the failures. You're only being shown one group. This applies everywhere. Successful businesses tell you their founding story. Failed businesses don't have documentaries. Investors who made a fortune explain their strategy. Investors who used the same strategy and lost everything are not invited on podcasts. The information you receive about success is filtered by survival, which means it is always incomplete. And incomplete information that feels complete is the most dangerous kind. The in-group bias. 30 seconds. That's all it takes. In-group bias is the tendency to favor people who belong to the same group as you, and to judge people outside that group more harshly, regardless of how arbitrary the grouping is. Researchers have divided people into groups based on coin flips, randomly assigned colors, and meaningless labels. Within minutes, members of each group showed preference for their own and suspicion of the other. Your brain evolved in small tribal groups, where loyalty to your group was survival. Identifying with your tribe and being wary of outsiders kept early humans alive. The problem is that your brain never got the update that the threat level has changed. Today, in-group bias shows up in politics, sports, religion, nationality, workplace culture, and social media. The content that confirms your group's worldview spreads faster. The leader of your group gets more benefit of the doubt. The outsider gets less. And because everyone in every group is doing this simultaneously, nobody is seeing the full picture. Everyone is seeing the version of reality that their group membership makes most available and most comfortable. The group is not always wrong, but your brain is not evaluating the group's ideas. It's defending the group. Those are not the same thing. The gambler's fallacy. It is not due. The wheel does not remember. The gambler's fallacy is the belief that previous random events affect the probability of future random events. A coin that has landed heads 10 times in a row does not become more likely to land tails on the 11th flip. The probability is still 50%. It was always 50%. The coin has no memory of what came before. But your brain does, and your brain looks for patterns. It sees 7 reds in a row and constructs a narrative about balance. None of that narrative is real. It is your brain doing what it always does, finding patterns where there are none because pattern recognition kept your ancestors alive. The casino knows this. The slot machine is designed around it. The losing streak that makes you feel like a win is coming is the most profitable moment in gambling. Not because a win is coming, but because you believe one is. Random means no pattern, but the human brain cannot tolerate no pattern, so it invents one, and then it bets on it.